The Outdoor Show. It's the program that puts you into the peaceful and beautiful home of Mother Nature. It moves you back to that calm fishing pond up north, one step away from Lake Michigan, or into your hunting blind on a brisk fall morning. The Outdoor Show. It's a peaceful program. This is not your mother's outdoor show. This is the WHTC Outdoor Show, hosted by a guy who literally has hunting in his name. Tom Mettendorp is Dutch for Village in the Maiden, or King's Hunting Ground. Your co-host, sometimes, is Tim Becker of Powderhorn Guns and Archery. It's time for what really happens when the guys go up north on that hunting trip. It's time for the WHTC Outdoor Show, presented by My Firearms ETS. That's MI Firearms ETS on 1450 WHTC, Holland's news leader.
Good morning. Welcome to the Outdoor Show. It's a beautiful day out there. And Caitlin, did I tell you who's right on, dead on, all the time?
You did. MOA Gunsmithing. The crowd goes wild.
You're supposed to push that button that goes.
I didn't have it queued up, sorry.
And guess who's here today?
Who?
MOA Gunsmithing.
Yeah, glad to be here.
goodness.
Yes, always glad to be here on a Saturday morning.
Well, yeah. There's nothing better to do when, there's still dew on the grass.
That's right.
And you might as well come in and talk.
That's right.
And everybody else out there might as well just tune in and listen
That's right.
and find out what we've got to talk about
Sure.
today.
Yeah, the bench is too wet to set your guns up on, so let it dry off a little bit and
Exactly.
tune in.
Exactly. It's a bugger when the bench is wet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not good.
No. Then we just pick them up and go offhand.
Right. There we go.
Can't really sight them in that way, but we can
Right.
let the lead fly.
Sure.
I've been thinking about this, the sun shining, the rain coming down.
Oh, yeah.
Another Monday with all rain.
Yep.
That's going to make a great Monday.
Reloading day.
There you go. Reloading day.
That's right.
But with all that rain and then the sunshine, then the rain, then the sunshine, what's happening?
Things are growing.
The grass is growing.
Yes.
The grass is growing. Did I tell you, Bob, Westenbrook Mower services everything they sell?
And I bet they just have anything you need. Parts
Oh, they
or whatever.
do. They've got it. And you have something that's not in the store, but you've already got it and you
Right.
need it maintained,
Yeah,
you go down there to Westenbrook Mower and they take care of it.
that's a good deal.
Because, they service what they sell. They have great service. I've used them for many, many years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Many,
I've been
many
there
years.
quite a few times. Yeah.
I think I remember going there with my dad.
Wow.
They're in a new location from back then. They were on Chicago
Right.
Drive, and then now they're over on Waverly.
Yep.
But they're awesome. So folks, get on down to Westenbrook Mower and check it out.
For sure.
We'll mow the grass later
Yeah.
because we've got ballistics to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And when we talk about ballistics, earlier I talked to you earlier this week, and we talked a little bit about
Yep.
what to do with ballistics.
Sure.
And one of the topics that we talk in high terms.
Right.
Would that be the way to say it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where we know more about it, we know more of the terminology, we know the definitions, and so we look at it and we start talking about it, and somebody else is sitting there going, "What?"
Yeah, they got that glazed donut look on their eyes.
Yeah, and I hate that when it happens, because it's like, okay, we're talking this person. We got to come back to where this person's at
Right.
for level of understanding.
Yeah.
It's not that they can't understand it; it's just level of understanding.
Yep.
Russ down at Grass Cup, Russ and I talk about physics and stuff like that all the time, and that's fun.
Oh, yeah.
But when somebody who doesn't understand those physics, they sit there and look at you. You guys are boring.
Right.
Well, we don't try to be.
Right.
It's different topics. So, we talk a lot about hunting. We talk a lot about sighting in guns. We talk about, excuse me, kind of took me over there for a second. Anyway, we talk about fishing.
Oh, yeah.
I love fishing.
Yeah.
There's
Nothing wrong with that.
There's physics involved in that, too,
Sure
when you
there
want to bring a fish in. But today, what we're going to talk about specifically is we're going to cover a new manufacturer that you found.
Oh, yeah. Yep. New manufacturer for production ammo.
For regular, find it on the shelf ammo.
Oh, yeah.
And they also have a website that has different pages with charts for comparison.
Yeah,
right?
just to put that out there right now, I was just doing some searching around, and it's ballistics101.com.
Ballistics101.com.
Yep. And you can go on there for handgun, rifle, shotgun, and if you're looking for a specific cartridge, let's say 40 Smith & Wesson, you can click on that, and it'll load a page that has all the manufacturers of factory ammo, and it'll list bullet weight, energy, muzzle velocity, so you can compare everything. So if you wanted to compare a 115 grain bullet to 147 grain bullet to different manufacturers, and
or the same manufacturer.
yes, the same manufacturer could have different weight bullets. But let's say Remington makes a batch of ammo. Now let's compare that to this new one I stumbled across, Underwood. Now,
Yes, Underwood. You were telling me this morning.
Yep, my nephew clued me into Underwood, and first time I heard about it, I'm like, what are you talking about? So I researched it a little bit, and it's pretty good ammo. I mean, it's outperforms Corbon, which is well known, been around for a long time. Underwood's been around for a while.
Yeah, the Corbon, you hear everybody talking about the
Yeah,
Corbon.
yep.
Oh, get the Corbon. Get the Corbon.
Yeah, Underwood you can get with like Spear Gold Dot loads in them with bullets, and their velocities are really pushing them up there. Very impressive.
So they're a higher speed.
Yeah.
And so I got to ask, when you have a higher speed, is it affected by your twist in your barrel?
We're talking handguns now, so there's not a whole lot of...
Not much difference.
No.
But when we talk rifles, if
Then
we go
yeah.
over to the rifle
Yeah.
rounds, the speeds in conjunction with the twist in the barrel can cause differences.
Yeah, because in a rifle, when you're talking high velocities, now you're talking revolutions per second on the bullet. And if you spin them too fast or you spin them too slow, that all falls into the equation for
Right.
rifles. Now, when we're talking handguns, it's the muzzle velocity is down quite a bit, so it's not that much of an equation to put in there.
Now, so people understand, if I shot a 44 Magnum from my carbine and I shot a 44 Magnum from my single six,
Yep.
so you just think about cowboy guns, okay? You got the lever action
Yeah,
rifle,
yeah.
you got the single action revolver, okay? If I shot one from my revolver, it's going to have less speed than what the rifle is because it has less time to build that speed inside the barrel
Right.
with something pushing it.
Right.
As soon as you stop pushing something, it starts to slow down.
Yep. The minute the...
Unless it's your car and it's going downhill.
Oh, yeah. Right. That's true.
But then it's got pull.
Right.
Called
Momentum.
gravity.
Yep. Right.
But now, a lot of people, I didn't know that people didn't understand that.
Okay.
The pressure, when we fire the round, the pressure is building up behind the bullet that's coming out, the round that's coming out of the barrel. Well, if I have a 6-inch barrel versus an 18-inch barrel, I've got 3 times the time for that pressure to be pushing and increasing in speed until
Right.
it leaves the barrel, right?
Yep.
And that creates a different velocity than the pistol does. The rifle creates a higher velocity than what the pistol does.
Right, because on a shorter barrel, you'll get unburnt powder. Once the bullet exits the muzzle, your powder and your pressure are totally worthless. They're gone. They're just spent out in the atmosphere. So
Right.
if you're shooting it through a rifle barrel, 22 inches, you have that much distance for the powder to burn, gain pressure, reach peak, get the bullet out of the muzzle. Where if you do it with a pistol, we're talking 4 inches or less, or maybe 6 inches, and you're not going to burn all that powder.
Or like my little brother's, I call it a hand rifle. It's got an 8.5-inch barrel on it.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. Those are nice. Thompson Center?
No. I'm thinking for a second.
Okay. It's not an old MOA pistol, is it? I did some looking, and there's a company out there, MOA, and they make handguns.
Really?
Yeah.
I did
Do a
not know
Google
that.
Search. I was pretty impressed. I thought, huh, I didn't even know I made that stuff.
Well, boy, I'm trying to think if his is a Super Red Hawk, a Ruger Super Red
Oh,
Hawk
okay.
with the 8.5-inch.
Okay. Yep.
I think it's the same. He's got a stainless steel Super Red Hawk. I've got the blued Super Red Hawk.
Okay. Yep.
Pretty sure. I don't know. It's been a while since we went out and played with 44 Magnums.
Yes.
But anyway,
Played Dirty Harry.
you come back to the velocity, the speed. the energy that something's moving, the energy that's behind something.
Right.
To explain those terms just a little bit, if we want energy, we're going to look at weight and velocity. Velocity simplified would be speed. Is there another
Right.
way to...
Or momentum.
The momentum?
Right.
Yep.
Now, I did a little looking up, and I mean, Newton's second law defines.
That's funny you say Newton's second law. Last night my wife was doing this trivia crack, competing
Oh.
against her nephew.
Yeah.
She says, "What's Newton's third law?" And now you bring it up this morning.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And it's just like we had talked earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's mass times acceleration or velocity. Now, that's what you had mentioned a long time ago, that you want to do a calculation with mass times acceleration equals force.
Right. And what we're going to do is we're not going to get into every element that goes with it,
Right.
but what we're going to do is we're going to give you numbers to
Right.
compare. Numbers, just simplistically, numbers multiplied together are going to be much easier for people to see what kind of comparison they're looking at
Yep.
versus trying to figure out all the elements that go into play
Right.
when you want to figure out force or impact.
Right.
So when we do that, that's going to make, hopefully, going to make it easier to understand the differences. And we're going to talk specifically handguns today.
Right.
But we're going to talk about the differences between, say, a 380 ACP, a 38 Special, a 357 Magnum.
Or even when the Feds switched from 40s, they dropped that and they went to 9mm,
yeah,
147 grain. It's pretty interesting, that switch.
Why that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was all kinds of things that would come over on your computer, of course, or postings.
Yep.
That would say, the Feds go 9mm. You
Yeah.
know? It's like, okay, big deal.
Right. I know it. You know, and with that said, too, there's going to be a flood on the market of used law enforcement 40s.
Right,
So
right.
run down to the Powderhorn and maybe have him put an order for you.
Well, there you go. Because the thing you have to keep in mind with the 40s is they're a little bit snappy.
Yeah.
They're a little bit snappy. And that's going to come to light a little bit when we talk about
Right.
the numbers, how the numbers work. And it's, don't get too nervous, folks. We'll make it simple.
Oh, yeah.
The Outdoor Show is brought to you by Westenbrook Mower, where they service what they sell. All units are ready to use when they leave the store, and Westenbrook submits your warranty information so you don't have to. Stop into the Holland or the Jennison store. Check them out on your computer at westenbrookmower.com or call them at 616-396-5733. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on The Outdoor Show. Welcome back to The Outdoor Show, brought to you by Michigan Firearms, your personal protection and concealed carry specialist. That's me.
Nice.
Did I tell you? Today, we're going to go up to Cabela's. We got invited up there to do workshops for the Ladies' Day Out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And if people come and see come and listen to us at our workshops, we're going to get to hand them a coupon.
And they just don't let anybody do that.
No.
I mean, they don't open the doors for anybody to come do that.
No, because they want to have a
You
professional
you got to be a
organization.
big deal.
Yeah. Hey, we like to look at it that way. But it's a Ladies' Day Out event. We're going to do workshops at 11, 12, and 1.
Nice.
And we're going to start out and we're going to do one with Don't Be a Victim. Now, I say Don't Be a Victim because we've taken portions of our Refuse to Be a Victim program. It's
Okay.
not the full one, so I don't want to say Refuse to Be a Victim because that's a 4-hour program.
Oh,
That's too long.
yeah.
But then we're gonna take the first part. Don't Be a Victim is going to be about you, personally.
About me?
Well, not Bob, but unless your name's Bob.
Oh, okay.
And guys are welcome for the Ladies' Day Out. They're welcome to come to the workshops
Okay.
and get the vendor code.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Is Tim going to be there?
Tim,
Yeah.
who's that?
Wait, let me look. There's nobody there.
No, my son Jake's a little under the weather, so it's just going to be Nate and myself.
Oh, okay.
And we're gonna do the Don't Be a Victim. Then we're gonna talk about home security and firearms security.
Oh, good.
So how
Good
do you
topics.
Yeah, how do you protect your home? How do you protect your firearms?
Right.
And then the culmination will be at 1 o'clock. We're gonna do a little bit on the requirements for training to get your concealed carry.
Oh, okay.
Which a lot of people have a lot of these things confused. So we're
Yes.
going to go over the requirements of it, NRA requirements for the certificate
Yep.
versus the state's requirements,
Yeah.
why the state requirements are where they're at. And we're also going to talk a little bit about training, whether you want to conceal carry or open carry. The training we provide covers everything.
Good.
So, people can come on out and check that out. We'll be up there in Granville doing those workshops. But back to where we were. Oh, no, I don't want to go back where we were. I want to do that.
Forward.
I want to do that after a few minutes when we go for our next break. Because I wanted to say, did you notice how many boats are headed out to the water?
I didn't. I was busy yesterday. I hardly got outside at all yesterday.
Just this morning, I couldn't believe how many boats were being pulled this direction as I was headed this direction.
Wow.
And I'm going, oh, they're going fishing.
Oh.
They're going to have some fun. The sun's shining. It's going to be 70 degrees out.
And you're saying that, and there's a John boat in the back of your truck right now.
I got to be at the place by 11.
Oh, okay.
That'd be the Cabela's in Granville.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, the fishing's picking up. People are getting out on the water.
Yes.
I think the ice flows are disappearing
Yep.
so that we don't have problems with people getting stuck outside the
Right.
pier heads. I think that's why a lot of guys are headed out with their bigger boats because they don't have to worry about getting stuck out there.
Right. Yep.
And I did not know a boat went out, or some boats went out. They couldn't get back in because the ice flow was at the channel, at the
Oh.
pier heads. They took the helicopter, the Coast Guard. They brought that over there, came down low to the water, and let that pound the wind down on there, and it pushed the ice flows out of the way so the boats could get in.
Wow.
That's pretty cool, but I'm wondering who paid that bill.
Yeah, because they don't do that for anybody.
Just the people who didn't have enough food on their boat
Yeah.
to stay there. Anyway, no, get on down to the Powderhorn and get your fishing reports and find out what's going on out on the water, because I heard that fish, the biting's going on. People are catching them. Things are happening. And I know that Tim's got an immense amount of stuff down at the store, new, from different dealers.
Nice.
I don't know all the details of it, so we'll have to wait for next week for him to come back. No, next week for him to come back and tell us those different vendors and the types of lures and stuff that they brought in.
Right.
I saw some pretty cool stuff last week while I was down there because some of the vendors were there telling about, this is how this works. They showed me some videos and stuff.
Okay.
It was pretty sweet. When you got a lure that'll do a 360 loop,
Oh, wow.
but it doesn't do it at the same pace. It goes whoop.
And he's got those crazy name lures, Big Weenie or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what all of them are. Blood Run Tackle.
Yeah, okay.
That was
Yeah.
one of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But people
he's got a lot of stuff there.
He does. And what about the remodel?
Nice. Was in there last week. Looks pretty good in there.
It's pretty
Yes.
nice. It's pretty nice. I like the remodel. I'm impressed with
Did
it.
a good job.
And then the other thing we got to think about, because we're going to go to a break in a little bit here, but the thing we got to think about is with the grass growing we talked about,
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything else,
Yes.
and the weather warming up and the rain coming, what about food plots?
Oh, yeah.
For the big-time deer hunters,
That's
you got to
right.
start thinking about the food plots now.
Yep.
And keep in mind, we've covered on the show how food plots for deer can also provide other animals coming in, such as turkeys
Sure.
and so on.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then keep in mind also, not just the hunters can put in a food plot to get the animals to come in, but people who want to watch them or take photos of them.
Right.
You can do a little 10 by 10 food plot.
Yep.
And over at the Friesland, or at the Farmers Co-op, right in Friesland, they got the country store there. But the Farmers Co-op has all those seed varieties and stuff to mix that up. They can help you with all that soil testing and everything else.
And that's good. They have it all set up for you. You got questions.
Oh, yeah.
This is what you need. Put it in.
Yeah, and
That's
last
always
year
good.
they had several 10 by 10 food plots that they planted.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were there, we were on site, and then they could take people around and show them how it looks and what
Right.
it is, and
Yep.
show them why it's a good thing to bring in the animals.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought it was pretty sweet. And, I always wait, or I always tend to forget about things until the last minute.
Oh, come on. Not you.
Where am I supposed to be right now?
Yeah, you were here a half hour early.
I get occupied or preoccupied. Anyway, with the warm weather, you got to start thinking about those things when the weather's going to turn cold.
Right.
And those food plots are something you got to take care of. I'll give you the information to get a hold of them here in just a moment. We got Farmers Co-op Elevator in Hudsonville is your food plot headquarters with over 40 different seed varieties to choose from, providing in-house soil testing as well as fertilizers, lime, and equipment to plant, maintain, and get the maximum performance out of your food plot. Visit the Farmers Co-op at 3302 Prospect Street in Hudsonville. For a complete list of products and services, check them out online at fcelevator.com. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on The Outdoor Show. Welcome back to The Outdoor Show, brought to you by Powderhorn Guns and Archery for all your arrow-knocking, gun-cocking, fish-hooking, flag-waving, stand-up and sing, God bless America hunting and fishing needs. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We're back, ready to answer your questions right here on The Outdoor Show.
That spot's just not the same without Tim whistling with his big bushy beard and grinning over there.
With all the air coming through that whistle. And we get back to the story. He goes, I'm going to learn how to whistle one day, he says. Oh, golly. He's off trying to become a captain.
Oh, really?
That's what he's up to. That's where he's been.
Captain Tim.
Captain Tim. Captain Tim. What's up, Captain Tim? I can't wait to use that. As soon as he gets that license. Hey, Captain Tim. Oh, I'm sorry. It just makes me chuckle. Anyhow, I told you we were going to get to doing some. Do we dare call them ballistic values, being that we're bringing it, simplifying it?
Probably more ballistic comparison.
There you go. Ballistic
that'd be a better way to do it, because what we're doing is trying to just give you a big overall look at different handgun cartridge performances. Mm-hmm. Like we had talked earlier. Yep. Do I want a 380? Do I want a 9mm? Do I want a 40? Do I want a 45? What's my intended purpose? And what kind of energy are we looking at? I mean, is it going to fit the bill for what I want to carry or the job I want to do? That's kind of what we wanted to summarize, give someone if they went to the Powderhorn, we're looking at 6 different handguns. I don't know, which one do I want? Which one should I buy? What's gonna be the best one?
It's true. It's true. They, people look at it, and when you're new at buying a gun, you want service.
Right.
You want somebody to spend some time talking to you.
Oh yeah, that understands everything as far as fit, feel, performance.
And you go to the store, and sometimes at the Powderhorn, of course, you're not going to feel unwelcome. You're not going to feel you're not going to not trust them.
Right.
Because they're very open.
Friendliest bunch of guys you'll ever meet.
Oh yeah. But say you go to find a store or find a gun at a store, and somebody you go in there with the intention, well, Uncle John told me I should get a 380.
Yep.
And then the store clerk wants to push the 9mm on you.
Right.
Or Uncle John told me I should get a 9mm, and the store clerk wants to push the 380.
Or Cousin Eddie told you to do the 50 Desert Eagle.
There you go. Cousin Eddie definitely would do that.
That'll take anything. Kind of big to conceal.
And if you run out of bullets, it works as a club.
That's right. Or scare them. Just look at it.
Yeah. Anyway, but then, you're talking to them, and they might be right, but you're not sure if you trust them because they're not family.
Right.
And they're not the ones who told you the first time.
Or you don't know if they're just trying to push an item.
Yeah.
Sell it.
So the idea would be that if we give you these numbers to just think about, then you can think about what kind of force the gun is going to produce.
Yep.
Then the other thing that we'll talk about is a little bit about shooting them, these handguns. Because I got a little insight on all the different people that come through and when they try to handle these guns, and still trying to figure out the details of it. We talked about that,
and
why it happens.
Lots of that. Training and everything.
But to figure out why it happens doesn't just fall on the person. A lot of times it's the gun, the caliber. Sometimes it's the type. Sometimes we talked a little bit about springs and how that comes into play and everything else. So, we're just going to talk a little bit about it and kind of give you an idea so you know what to look for when you want to look for a gun.
Right.
In the handgun varieties.
Yeah, just try to broaden your knowledge a little bit so you're not so intimidated when you see the whole selection out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people might pick up a 45 and right away they're afraid of recoil and flinch.
Oh, it's a big 45.
Yeah, or if they pick up a 9mm, there's nothing to this. This is pretty light recoil.
Yep.
So
then they want to go in the middle and they say, well, it's a defensive caliber. It's got to start with a 4.
Right.
Not really.
There's all kinds of myths out there.
And in a little while, you'll be very surprised at what I tell you about the 380 versus the 9mm in those compact guns.
Oh, nice. I can't wait to hear that.
Uh-oh. That means I got to come through.
Oh, yes, right.
Anyway, if we're talking about force, mass times acceleration equals force.
Right.
What we're talking about is the weight. Now, when we talk grains, it's just like pounds. It's a unit of measurement for weight, but grains are very small because it's way less than a pound.
Right.
So grains, we could explain grains and how that came about, just like we can explain gauges and how that came about and everything else, but we don't need to do that really. We just have to have you understand that a grain is a unit of measurement for weight.
Right, and that's used not only with bullets, but with your gunpowder. So when we're talking cartridges and we're talking reloading, everything kind of revolves around grains.
Yes.
Okay, we're not going to talk black powder. We're just talking smokeless powder right now. So bullets, smokeless gunpowder, any references to that is in grains.
And when we say smokeless gunpowder, let's convert that term to modern gunpowder.
Yes.
Powder. Because that way people will understand that's in modern
Not triple
rounds.
F or that kind of stuff for black powder. We're talking modern smokeless gunpowder, like unique.
What goes
bullseye.
into a cartridge to propel a bullet.
Yep.
Okay. So when we talk about those grains, we're talking about weight. Then when we're talking about speed, we're talking about not miles per hour, but
velocity.
feet per second.
Or velocity.
Yep. But we're the numbers we're giving are the feet per second.
Right.
Yes?
Yep.
Yeah. So when you think in feet per second, if it's 1,320 feet per second, that means in 1 second it's going to go a quarter mile.
Yeah, close to it.
Pretty dang close.
Yep. Yep. You were doing some mental math there real fast.
I was trying to add 5280 divided by 4.
The curvature of the earth and the spin. And let me see, right now the wind is... Okay, yep, that's right.
That's called...
I need to hang around this guy way more than I am.
On-the-fly calculus?
Yeah.
Calculus and flying? Wait a minute.
Oh, huh. I think I'm going to Cabela's this afternoon and getting an education.
I'm not doing that there. That's when you get all those glassed over eyes, everybody going, what is he doing?
Yeah.
That's because your eyes are rolled back in the back of your head going...
Thinking about, did I change the oil in my lawnmower? Do I need to get my blade sharpened?
How long will it take me to sharpen the blades when the wheel is spinning it?
Right.
Anyway, okay, so speed is feet per second. Weight is in grains, and we're going to do some comparisons on rounds.
Right.
Okay, so let's go with some of the standard stuff. Let's start with a very popular round is the 9mm. And the Full Metal Jacket, 115 grains, right, travels at what speed?
Well, we've got one at 1,320 feet per second.
Hey,
that's your 115 grain bullet. Oh, what a coincidence.
What a coincidence.
Wow.
So 1,320 feet per second with 115 grains. If we multiply the two together, we get a number. That number is 151,800. So 151,800. So if anybody's writing this down, just so they can remember what's happening, 151,800. Okay, so that's with our 9mm at 115 grains at 1,320 feet per second, and that's pretty common.
Yeah, and that's just a reference number.
Yes.
That huge number is just for reference. It's not
that
push,
doesn't tell
velocity,
us foot pounds,
knockdown power.
Yeah.
If it was, everybody would have a 9mm shooting that load if that was the energy.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, because that's a pretty large number.
That's
but
big.
It's just a reference number. Remember that. And then if we look at the 45 ACP, which is your 1911s and so on, typical.
Slower.
It's slower.
Yep.
It's 850 feet per second. Well, that's kind of slow compared to the 1,320 feet per second. But here's where the differences come in. If we put in there a 230 grain bullet, that's 230 for the weight of the bullet, and we do 850 times 230, we're going to get a number, 195,500, 195,500. Okay? So if we take those two numbers, and this is just to give you a comparison in percentages.
Right.
And this is how you would do it. To find a percentage, I would say my 9mm is 151,800. So if I put in my calculator 151,800 and then divide by the larger number. Now, I know some people are going to go, what? You don't divide by a larger number. And then there's people that are sitting there going, yeah, come on, get on with it. You divide by the larger number. That's to find the percentage. What percentage is the smaller number of the larger number?
Right.
So if I took 75 for pennies, 75 cents,
Yep.
and divide it by 100, divide it by the larger number, that's 75% of that dollar.
Yep.
So that's just a comparison for them. So if we say 151,800 and we divide that by 195,500, that comes out to
78%.
7764. 0.776470. It goes on, but that rounds to a 78%. Well, at 78%, you think about that. That's just over 3/4
Right.
of the power, let's say, of the 45. The 9mm is just over 3/4 of that.
Right.
So it's not an incredible difference, but it's a good enough difference.
Right. And those are percentages of numbers you can look at to say, do I want to go a 9 or do I want to go to 45? And, now we can really twist that up because with the feds who dumped their 40s, went to 9mm with a 147 grain bullet, that puts a twist on everything.
Definitely.
So, there's other factors to look at. But with the 115 grain load compared to the 230 grain load on the 45 ACP, at 78% of the energy, maybe you want to go with a 9 because for you, it's more controllable. It has more
gun
push,
is more
less
controllable.
snap. You can get back target acquisition quicker. I mean, that's the name of the game. Is you need to be comfortable. You need to be able to hit your target and get back on target quick. Acquire that sight.
Right, and when we're talking, so we're talking defensive rounds, and we're talking about when we say push and snap, what we're talking about is when the slide of a semi-automatic comes back. Some of them are built that they hit the back harder than others, and that's where we get into the spring tension and all that stuff, but we don't have to do that. But it comes back, and it has a snap, because the faster it comes back, the more it's going to transfer energy into your wrist, causing your gun to have muzzle flip.
Yep.
The push is how quickly does it come back to the front, and does it dip your muzzle after the shot, which we're not majorly concerned about that, as long as there's not a lot of movement that we cannot reacquire that target.
Right.
And we want to reacquire that target. And what brings this to mind is that I've been doing this for 15 years and watching people and helping them with their shooting. Everybody's different.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't just take a standard, okay, this is how you shoot, let's get that done. When you look at the different things, and it takes into account the strength, the ability to have the rigidity in your wrist. That's an isometric thing that has to do with your kinesthetics.
So do you need to do upside down push-ups with your feet against the wall for building up your wrists?
Before I got to this side, sure. This size? Not anymore. That's a lot of me to push up. Anyway, what I wanted to point out before we go to break is that when we talk about the shooting techniques, what we do is we take somebody's natural ability.
Right.
We build into play the ergonomics of the gun. Huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge. And then we take the kinesthetics of their muscles, their muscle structure, and help them build up to where when they use the isometrics that go with it. Now, I'm using some fancy words here and stuff. Not everybody knows exactly what all of them are. But when we talk about that, we're getting you and the gun to work in conjunction.
Right.
So that's
proper
just
training.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to get to here, and we're going to finish that up here right after the break. The Outdoor Show is brought to you by Advantage Marine in Zeeland, with competitive prices and personalized service to meet all your needs: repair, storage, winterizing, parts, and more. Call Advantage Marine in Zeeland at 616-748-9235, or stop in and see Dave at 8755 Riley Street in Zeeland. That's at the corner of 88th and Riley on the northeast side of Zeeland. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on the Outdoor Show. Welcome back to the Outdoor Show, brought to you by Michigan Firearms and his good buddy Bob from MOA Gunsmithing, because Bob is right on, dead on, all the time.
I like that. I like that catchphrase.
I know, you wrote it, you gave it to me, but can I say I made it good?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all how you present it. It's all in the presentation.
Anyhow, I got to remind people, we're going to be up at Cabela's today. Michigan Firearms, we're going to be up at Cabela's. We're going to be doing workshops, 3 different workshops for folks from 11, 12, and 1. And when you come see us at the workshop, we get to give you a coupon code that gives you vendor pricing.
Nice.
Which will be sweet. We also, I almost forgot, they got the free boat inspection thing.
Oh, that's right.
Out at the DNR launch.
Yes.
So you go down Ottawa Beach Road, you get out to the DNR launch, and you're on the land side of the Ottawa Beach Road, not the water side where the launch itself is, but where the overflow lot. And Sergeant Kuning and Chief Paquette are going to be out there. They're on their way out there right now. I got a message from them.
Oh, good.
Anyway, they're going to be out there today, and they're going to be doing those boat inspections for people. So get your boat and head on over there. And maybe all those boats I saw this morning, maybe that's where they were going instead of the fish.
I'll bet they were. Sure.
They might have been. But, get over there and get your boat inspected. We talked about it in past weeks. So if you're kind of wondering what's happening, go to WHTC.com. Go back into some of our shows under the podcasts and listen to what Tim has to say about it. And it wouldn't have been last week, but 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
2 weeks ago,
Real informative.
Tim really talked about it a lot and explained all of it. And I think he said something 3 weeks ago also.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, it's out there by the DNR launch, and go see those guys. They're awesome.
Oh, yeah. They're there to help you.
Yeah. And maybe Eli brought some snacks out there. I don't know.
Oh.
He brings them to Powderhorn every week for us.
Oh, wow. I'm going to go check that out.
Well, definitely.
I don't even have a boat, and I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah. He always brings them into Powderhorn for us, and then he never has any. He just brings them in, and everybody eats them.
Oh, that's nice.
So, anyhow, back to where we were with what we were talking about with the numbers. We gave you how to do the numbers on the 9mm and the 45.
Right.
Did you do a 380 comparison?
I have the velocities for a 380, where we could just do, let's just take...
What if we pick a number?
100 grain.
100 grain on a 380. That's a common one, right?
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's pushing about 988 on muzzle velocity.
Okay, so if I go 100 times 988, I'm going to get 98,800. So 98,800. So if I have 98,800, and now I'm just going to jump up to from the 380 to the 9mm. And we're going to look at the 9mm number was 151,800. So if I take the 98800, divide by the 151,800, that's going to equal a number that is 65% of the 9mm.
Right.
65%, not even 66%, but 65%. So now, think about that. From the 45, which now, and we're not saying you have to have a 45, but when you drop down from a 45 to a 9mm, you get to 78%. Now you take that 78% number from the 9mm, and you drop down to 65%.
Yep.
Dare I use the term pea shooter?
Yeah.
I mean, really, because there's not going to be a lot of strength in that round when it comes out of there. Now, I don't want to scare people away from their own 380 or have them run down and sell it at half the price they bought it for. But here's the other thing that comes into play. Remember I told you that, I've been watching people for 15 years shooting 380s, 9mm, 45s, all that stuff, 40s. But the 380 amazes me, the snap of a 380.
Right.
I don't think there's any push return.
Yep.
It's all snap.
Yep.
And those 380 snap back. In fact, I could probably count them out, but I'm going to say several women that have come to my class with a 380. They, not to the class itself, they came for a training prior to learn, because they just bought it. Somebody said, go get a 380. That's
Without
what you
shooting
want.
it, they just took someone's advice, picked it up,
Went and bought it.
Came to you.
Come to the range. So we get them all set. We do a little dry fire exercise, and then we say, okay, let's fire our first rounds. And oh my goodness, that kicks way more than I thought. And for a long time I thought, really? It's a 380.
Yeah.
But then I started watching each time I had somebody out there, and then I started saying, try this gun. And I was giving them a compact 9mm, which was relatively the same size.
Yep.
Okay, so take the comparison. If you have a Sig Sauer P238, that's a 380 round. You have a Ruger LC9. They're very close in size. In fact, the hand grip's a little larger on the 380 of the Sig Sauer. But shoot both of them and compare it. That 9mm has way less snap than what that 380 has.
Wow, yeah.
Now, you have your cross manufacturers,
right?
So there's a difference there on their spring pressures and everything else.
And the whole recoil system, how it's built, how it handles blowback.
Yep.
I mean, all that. And it could be one where you lay it down, pick it up, okay, they grab another one, and it just fits your hand like a glove. Like, wow, this thing was made for me.
But then it might not function for you.
Right.
We want to find something. When you talk about finding a firearm for defensive use, a handgun, you want to find something that, number one, fits. If it doesn't fit, and then there are some things that for gun fit that we would have to teach you, because you can't see me right now.
You should see him right now. He's got this tactical vest, got a couple pistols on there.
No. But there are differences in the kinesthetics of your muscles,
right?
That cause for ergonomics.
Yep.
Let's say it that way. In how you raise the gun up to look down the sights. For instance, and I'm going to try to explain it. If you're target shooting in the old stand upright profile position, take and put your arm straight out to the side, but you're standing 90 degrees to the target, and that's the way you're shooting, versus getting down, stepping into it, bending at the waist, leaning forward a little bit, and extending your arms out in front of you. That's a totally different ergonomic position.
Right. You need to teach muscle memory, repetitiveness.
It's not just that. What people are doing is they're going over to the gun counter, and they're picking out a gun, and they're saying, oh, this fits. And then somebody says, well, put that up and look down the sight. So they put it up to the side, like the old target shooting position.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That gun's not in the same position it's going to be when you bring it up in front of you.
Yep.
And that has to do with the angle of the back strap and other things like that.
Yep.
And so they think they fit to their gun, but they didn't fit to their gun.
Right.
And I caution people against that. And we welcome questions.
Oh yeah.
So feel free to jump on the website, send us an email if you have some major questions. If I get a backlog of 1,000 emails, it's going to take me a little while to get back to you. But we welcome questions. We like those questions. But hopefully we gave you a way to understand what kind of pressure or what kind of force your rounds are coming out at, the comparisons for it. And use those numbers to compare what that firearm's going to do. And we didn't even get to the 40.
Right. No, we didn't. No.
And hopefully we'll get to the 40 in a future show because, like I told you before, that's a snappy gun.
Yeah.
40s are snappy.
Yep.
And it makes it hard for reacquisition on new shooters.
Right.
So we have suggestions on how you should start and how you should continue.
Good.
Thanks for coming in, Bob. Appreciate it very much.
Enjoyed being here.
Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week right here on The Outdoor Show.